Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell. You'll get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And when I'm not asking Bruce, hey, how big was Batista's? Well, you know. One of the things I like to do is help people save money. And if you're watching this video right now and you're in a 30-year loan, man, you're overpaying your single biggest bill and you may not even realize it. I want you to do a little experiment for me. Take your calculator out, multiply your monthly house payment by 360 payments. That's how many payments there are in a 30-year loan. That big scary number, that's your total of payments. You're looking at that number? You know you can do better. Keep more of your own money right now and go to savewithconrad.com. Or maybe you've got credit card debt. Man, it's not a matter of if I can save you money with that. Your average interest rate on a credit card is more than 20%. And by the way, all the interest you pay on those credit cards, it's not tax deductible. Whereas the mortgage interest, well, that is tax deductible. So if you owe this debt, it's up to you how to pay it back. Doesn't it make sense to get the cheapest rate possible and the greatest tax deduction possible? Find out how much money you can save right now for free at savewithconrad.com. You don't need perfect credit. Even scores in the 500s can be approved, and it's no cost out of pocket. But maybe best of all, we're licensed in more than 40 states. We can help more families than ever before. But how much can we save you? Find out right now for free with a quick quote from savewithconrad.com.
All right, we're back, folks. This is the Ross Report. You got in the right place. You downloaded the right show. I want to welcome my buddy, my friend, and a WWE Hall of Famer, Stone Cold Steve Austin, to the program. Hello, Steve.
Hello to the greatest broadcaster in the history of the pro wrestling business, soon to be the greatest podcaster in the history of the podcast business. I'm kicking it over here in Los Angeles, California, Jim. I'm proud to be your first guest. Welcome to the world of podcasting. I know you'll love it.
I am going to be the potentate of podcast. And by God, I'm not going to stop until I make it, because it beats putting up the ring like I did when I first got in this business. And hauling wrestlers around that farted in my car. Boy, have I got some questions lined up for you, mister. You would have think that I was deposing your ass for big money. I mean, these are serious mainline news questions.
Or you might have should have been a damn lawyer.
Yeah, well, I won't go there. They're good people, most of them, some of them.
Okay, most of them.
Hey,
I know a couple that are decent people.
Yeah.
I know a lot of them that ain't.
I know the battling barrister is in Pittsburgh, Jerry McDivitt.
Oh, yeah.
He's got as good a lawyer as there is in America.
Old Jerry. Nice guy.
If I did anything bad, I want Jerry McDivitt in my corner. Big hot news item. CM Punk departing WWE. Do you think he's coming back anytime soon or not?
You know, he's right off the top of my head, Jim. I think he'll be back. I know he loves the wrestling business. And, you know, sometimes, you know, you get in that system and, you know, being a guy on the road, you just get fed up with the decisions that are being made there in the office, and you don't know where to crap or wind your watch, and your head gets messed up, and maybe your head's not even messed up. You just don't like the direction things are going. And it's just like beating your head against the wall, and you want everybody to kind of be able to read your mind or be on the same page with you, because by all logic in your brain, you know, they should see things as you do. But that's not always the case. So, obviously, I haven't talked to Punk since he walked out. I think, you know, it's similar in ways to when I walked out. You know, it was just a bad booking decision. And I've told that story a million times. When you called me, I was down there wrestling in Columbus, Georgia, Ric Flair in a cage. And you called and told me the creator for that Raw. And I told you if that was what we was going to do, I wasn't going to be there. And then you talked to Vince, and Vince, you called me back and said, call the old man. So I called him back. He told me the same scenario, and I took my ball and went home. I'd had my gut full. You know, it was the worst decision I ever made in my life, Jim, and I lost a lot of money and paid a big fine on top of all that. And here's the thing. CM Punk, I know he's worn out mentally and physically. Yeah. He's burned out. But, you know, and if he wants to get back into business, you know, what he should have done and can still do is get back to that company, fulfill his contractual obligations so you're not in breach and you can earn future royalties.
Yep.
When I walked away, I breached. I didn't make a damn dime.
You took the bat out of everybody. Yeah, you screwed yourself there.
Yes, I did. I made a really bad decision, and if it hadn't been for you sending me a little card in the mail saying, hey, I'm here if you ever need me, just give me a call, I picked up my cell phone and I called you.
I meant to send that.
For a couple hours.
I meant to send that to a woman, but hell, it sounded so good. I thought
you sent it to me instead.
I said I'll use reverse psychology and sweet talk Steve. And well, hey, look, I'm glad we sent that, and I'm glad we got that back together. But I think sometimes these burnouts are they converge on you. It's like a bad intersection, like a dangerous intersection, because normally, I've always said that the two biggest issues that talent become unhappy about are the two C's, cash and creative. There could be an isolated other problem here, there, and yon that gets somebody to throw a shoe, but normally it's cash and creative. So your issue was largely with creative, but your body was telling you that you needed a timeout. It seemed to me like, because...
Well, it wasn't really my body at that time. It was the fact that I didn't have no business doing the favors that night in Raw on an unadvertised match.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
A lot of big build-up. I saw potential all over Brock Lesnar.
Oh, yeah.
I love Brock Lesnar. And I've always been willing to do business when it's time to do business. It was not time to do business. And I thought they had thrown a few roadblocks at me along my way that intentionally slow me down. So my head was in a totally different space. But I think where Punk's at right now, I think what will happen, Jim, here's my prediction.
Here we go, folks.
Start it off as a shoot. It'll turn into a work. CM Punk will reappear at WrestleMania 30. Mark my word, that's my prediction.
All right. Well, there you heard it right here first, folks. You can get the Twitters rolling. Stone Cold predicts CM Punk will be back for WrestleMania 30. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. It's, we both know that Vince loves these round numbers. 10, yep. 20, 30. 30 is big to him. Now, it is big. It's the biggest WrestleMania they've ever had because it's 30. And it's the last one, the next one, rather. So 30 is going to be big. I'm sure every card will be played, and for Punk not to be on that show, because what Punk can do in the ring is he can perform, and he can work with just about anybody. And I thought he had John Cena's best matches, in my opinion, in Cena's run in WWE.
Right.
I thought they were the best. He had a hell of a match with The Undertaker when Undertaker had been gone a year. They had a hell of a match, considering Undertaker had been gone a year.
Yep.
And then he had a hell of a match with Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, and Lesnar was a part-timer.
Yep.
So the guy's got great value, but, that burnout thing and getting tired and getting pissed off at creative and getting frustrated.
But that is a place where guys' minds go.
Yeah, I know. You're right.
And CM Punk is straight edge. Now, me, I was drinking like a fish and running hard. And I was
quit
working
it now.
hard and I was working my ass off. But so two different degrees of mentality, and the same decisions can be made. Hey, I've had enough. I've got a gut full. Here's the thing. When you're mad about what's being done and you're going to get a shot at WrestleMania, your contract's about to expire or you've got 5 years left on it, you go to WrestleMania, you bust your ass, and you try to steal that show.
Exactly.
And you show everybody, hey, I'm the man here, whether you got me as the man or number 1 spot, 2 spot, 5 spot, it don't matter. I'm going to prove every single time I go to this ring that my match will be the best. Well, that's how you get them back.
You're damn right it is.
That's how you prove your worth.
That's exactly right. And I have always said, and some don't understand it, play back that portion of what Steve just said of why I like to recruit athletes, not performance artists, when I was in that business. The deal is that you recruit an athlete, someone that has had some level of athletic competition. Success is good, but the competition is what's king, because they can bring that trait right with them into the wrestling locker room, and you get a bunch of guys saying, "This territory is my territory. I'm the show here, and if you're going to be the top stud here, you're going to follow my stuff, and you can't." So that's what he ought to do. I agree with you.
It's all about being the best. It's all about being the best. We know the environment. We know it's a work.
Yeah.
But competitive edge is giving it your all and proving that you are the best.
Exactly.
It ain't about a W. It ain't about an L. It's about the performance and turning in the match of a lifetime for the people who make that journey to the Mecca, the biggest wrestling show, the biggest sports entertainment show of the year, and like you said, going back to the round numbers, 10 was a big one, 20, 30.
Yep.
He's going to throw all the bells and whistles,
All of them.
all the PR, all the press. This is a machine that you want to be on.
I think what Vince ought to do, Steve, is put a damn bottle of JR's barbecue sauce in every seat in the Superdome. And I think that's exactly what they ought to do, because that's Americana. And then if they're pissed off at the finish, they can throw them at people.
You know, back in the day, Jim, we'd when I was working in USWA, they'd throw an extra match on the card and be the grab for the green. $10,000 in a bag on a pole match, and whoever climbed up to the top of that pole got the $10,000.
Sure they did.
Well, of course, there was no $10,000 in there, but let me go back to WrestleMania 30. A box of JR's assorted barbecue flavors and mustards and all that other stuff on top of a pole match. Stone Cold might have to bust out the leg braces and into that match, climb that pole, and win that bag of JR's products. What do you think about that as a headliner?
I think that if this was back in the old days and we were booking a Thanksgiving show for a territory and the booker or the owner had a line of sauces and condiments, that damn sure be in a box on top of a pole, like especially maybe at Christmas time. Gift wrap the box and put the barbecue sauce in there, put it on a pole. Hell of a match. Never seen nothing like it. Never seen so damn many people, Rick.
Hey, to all the listeners of the Ross Report, this is Booking 101 at its finest.
That's right. Hey, we're highly skilled professionals, by gosh. Hey, if you were the almighty booker of the WWE territory, that's what it's going to be on this show for right now, anyway. And you were the booker of the WWE territory, would you have an issue making Daniel Bryan your WWE World Champion?
No, I wouldn't have an issue with that at all, man. To me, I've been watching the show lately. I tuned out for a long time. I started getting back involved with it, and it was hard to watch for a while, but now, I'm getting the fever again. I was just at Monday Night Raw last night as we speak, and I talked with young Daniel Bryan. I saw all the signs out there in the crowd, the response that cat gets. Hell no, I ain't got no problem putting a strap on that kid and letting him run with it. I think if they're doing a slow burn. I think initially, I think Daniel Bryan started getting hot. And then, maybe it's just internet-type stuff, and it doesn't translate to ticket sales. But I think the kid truly is hot. He is over. I think they're going to do a slow burn with him. They're going to kind of listen to the people now, kind of work against him, kind of make him wait for that big payoff.
Yeah.
Then they're going to give it to him, and they're going to put the hammer down and run with Daniel Bryan. To answer your question, I got no problem putting the strap on that cat.
Well, let me ask you this, another question, following that up. Now, we've both been around Vince a lot, and we both have made, especially you, have made a lot of money working for Vince. Now, I ain't done bad. I ain't complaining. But we both know him to be a very smart guy. And he has pretty unique instincts. Now, I'm saying that this whole thing is a slow burn because it is so obvious that Daniel Bryan is over. He is over, and McMahon is way, way too smart not to see that Daniel Bryan is over. And that old wrestling promoter in him that he tries to suppress apparently from time to time, it'll seep out there, and then you want to seize that opportunity. Here's a guy that somehow got over and is connected to the audience, and they want him to succeed. He is the greatest under or overachiever in the history of the WWE, in my view.
He's every man. I mean,
man.
He's got that old scruffy beard. He's got him a good look. He's big as a minute. But God dang it, when the bell rings, that kid can work his ass off, and those people believe in him. And you got to reach people at a certain level, or just strike some chord in people. And I think he is that everyman.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they're living vicariously through the yes chants and everything that he's got going on, the yes movement. So the kid's riding a hell of a head of steam into WrestleMania, and I'm really pulling for him. I had him on my show. I talked to him yesterday at Monday Night Raw, and he's just a great kid.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, Jim, when you got a thin roster and not a whole lot of veterans in there, when you get a chance to see a guy like Daniel Bryan work, if you love the business of pro wrestling, which you and I obviously do, we spend our lives doing,
right.
I love to see a guy who can work to the ability and to the depth that cat can. So I enjoy the mechanics and the psychology and the execution of his matches.
Oh yeah, me too. I think that he's got to get more confidence in his verbal skills on the mic.
Agreed.
I think he needs more confidence, and I think less is more with him. He's not a long promo guy. You could do
less is more with him. Less is more with him, Jim.
Yeah.
He's got to be one of those counter speakers. You know, let someone set the table for him and then let him go mop it up.
Yeah.
I would like to see him turn up the volume just about, one or two, three notches as far as putting some exclamation points in some of the lines that he's delivering, because at some point a man has to become pissed off. And when Daniel Bryan starts getting pissed off, that WWE universe is going to be riding with him. So it's time for him to amp it up. And I think he will amp it up. I'm hoping that he does on this road to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think
enough is enough, and you got to start firing up.
I think he's got a chance. I don't know what he's going to do at WrestleMania. I'm glad I don't know. I mean, I don't. People say, "Oh, you got this inside stuff." You know, hey, I left there on September the 11th. I do go online. I look at the sites from time to time because I write a blog a lot, and I want to be current, and so I'll look, but I don't. I hear all these rumors. I think that WrestleMania, since the Royal Rumble, that card has been kind of in a state of, I don't want to say a state of flux. So that means that nobody knows what the hell's going on. I think there's a lot of opinions being thrown around after the Rumble about what should happen at WrestleMania. Am I off the track on that?
Yes, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I think they threw the Royal Rumble out there, and based on the feedback, I don't think everything they got was the feedback they expected.
Right.
I didn't think they expected that people were so disenchanted that Daniel Bryan wasn't in that Royal Rumble. I felt that. I saw Rey Mysterio the other day, and he came and shook my hand. I said, Ray, number 30, and Vince was right there. I said, why did you put Ray spot number 30? I said, you could have called me up, and I'd have been your number 30. But Rey Mysterio Jr., future Hall of Famer, the guy that everybody loves. So anyway, I felt bad that Ray got that spot.
Hey, that should have been, you know whose spot that should have been? That should have been Wade Barrett's spot.
That's you damn right.
He said, I got some
trying to heat that kid up. It was a natural.
Yeah.
It was a no-brainer.
Yeah, got some bad news for you.
You want to get some heat in that number 30 spot because everybody wanted Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, that's some bad news for you. Daniel Bryan ain't here, but you got me. He's he's pissed everybody in the building off. So I think that I think Daniel Bryan has got a chance to really do something special. I think it's been drawn out very, very wisely because it seems as if many of us, I'll speak for myself on that, have and are wanting more of Daniel Bryan. We want to see him succeed.
At some point, you want to see that payoff. Now, here's the thing. Don't delay that payoff so long that it's anticlimactic and you lose half the people on the way to that payoff. And I really believe you can ride a lightning bolt so long, but you have to pay off sooner or later, and sometimes later is not soon enough.
Yeah.
I think with WrestleMania being a short, time away, they still have the window open. But if you start jacking with that window too much, it will close.
Right. I'm with you on let's do it now. Let's do it at WrestleMania time. I think they have some time to do what they need to do. That's going to bring, talking about WrestleMania, I get it every day. I'm sure you get it a zillion times on Twitter because you have like 38 million followers or something like that. Are you going to be at WrestleMania 30 in any official capacity that you're aware of as we record this that you could talk about?
And I tell you what, again, as we're talking, yesterday I was at Monday Night Raw. No one's reached out to me in any creative form capacity whatsoever. I'm certainly not going to go down to New Orleans just to, go to the Hall of Fame or to watch the card. For me, if I'm not doing anything, the best spot for me is sitting on my ass and couch, remote control in my hand. I'll buy the event because, that's WrestleMania. I get every single WrestleMania there is to see what they're going to do, how they're going to pay off what they've built, and where they're going to go for the future. So I'm certainly going to be watching. Whether I'm watching from my house or New Orleans is to be determined.
You could always come down to my show on Thursday.
Well, you know what? If I'm involved in some capacity and I'm in that neck of the woods, I'll damn sure drop by your show.
Goddamn, I am so shameless about plugging and begging.
No. Now stop. Let me cut you off. That's why the podcast. This is the Ross Report. You can talk about your stuff all day long. and it's not shameless shilling. It is just promotion. That's what the Raw
That's what I am.
all about.
I am the potentate of a podcast, ladies and gentlemen. And we have established several things here about WrestleMania. So what would Stone Cold do at the 30th? I mean, you could be four-wheeling it. You could drink some beer. You could be interrupted. You could stun somebody. God dang it, referee role seems wore out. I don't know. Maybe
Well,
it's me.
you know, the referee roles wore out a little bit, Jim, and, you know, to just probably make some type of, I don't know. But, yeah, you got to be real selective with that. I'm not looking to get in to work a match, so don't even entertain those thoughts, whoever's listening to the show. But to be there in some
And
capacity,
you know they're listening.
You really got to, yeah. But you've got to be real careful with that creative, because if it ain't the right thing,
Yeah.
you know, it's just, you know, it's a wasted moment. It's not good for me. It's not good for the people. And I mean that because I'm very critical of the product. I'm very critical of myself, and I have to be very critical with the booking of myself.
It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. But I do think that we're in agreement that 30, because of that simple little number, 30, that Vince is going to do all he can to make it as big as he can. I am wondering, do you think that in WrestleMania lore that the streak has taken it's separated itself from everything else, and it's kind of there on a mantle or on a pedestal, so to speak, the streak of The Undertaker? I believe that there's been some years I have more interest in the streak than I did anything else on the card.
Oh, man, the streak is certainly a big part of WrestleMania, ever since it started being considered a streak. And I guess that would probably be maybe after 3. I mean, because you got to get on a roll, and then all of a sudden, man, it starts building up. And first of all, it's never been done. Second of all, it will never be done again, ever. And the thing about the streak is, he's 21-0, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't want to see 21-1. If the Undertaker goes to WrestleMania 30 and he's gonna wrestle, I want to see him go 22-0. That's just the way I am. I cannot see that streak being broken, nor do I want to. That's how special it is.
I've encountered some very intense verbal confrontations on Twitter with people when I tell them that I think the streak should never be broken, and that the guy should retire when he wants to, not when they think he should.
Yes.
And they said, well, what if John Cena wrestled The Undertaker? Well, look, if you're a good booker, and I like to think that I have a booker's mind, which is about half-assed fried, that John Cena and The Undertaker is a layup. That's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. If it were me, it would happen in Cowboy Stadium with 100,000 people there, and Cena and Undertaker going one-on-one in The Undertaker's retirement match. How's that for booking?
Well, I'll tell you what, that would be a damn interesting match. And the thing about it is, I mean, that John Cena, I talked to him yesterday as we're speaking, and God, I tell you what I like about that guy is his work ethic. He shows up. Every time I see that kid, he's got a smile on his face. And sometimes he's smiling through pain, sometimes he's smiling through being dead dog tired. That kid is a working son of a gun. And to put them in a ring together, Cena versus The Undertaker, and again, I got to see The Undertaker get his hand raised, and John Cena is pretty much bulletproof. And it would only elevate John even to another level if that can be possible. He's at the top of the mountain right now.
Yeah.
But it's certainly box office. And you know, no one's going to know what's going to happen until the match is over. So it could go either way. I'm just saying, I never want to see the streak broken, but I want to see a hell of a performance.
Yeah, I want
to. Because there's a star as big as John Cena, he could feasibly go over. So
I want to think
great matchup.
Yeah, I don't want to see it broken, but I want to think it can be broken.
Yeah.
And I also don't know. I also don't know if Cena's going to go on the other side of the tracks in this match to accomplish what he wants. So I thought there's something there to be said for that deal. So. It's an interesting topic that we will return to. A little bit more of Stone Cold's thoughts about WrestleMania, but this is really important because these folks are making this show possible, and Steve's been doing it a lot longer than me, very successful, because the folks that listen support the sponsors. But right now, we've got to take a real quick minute to thank all the great sponsors of the Ross Report. Well, we are back. We're still in the air, actually. In this palatial studio designed for yours truly in a secretive location in rural Oklahoma, where across the street is a sign for a tornado shelter. But we have the man that probably sold more tickets and more pay-per-views and more T-shirts and more merchandise in general, pulled the wagon on the Attitude Era, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. My friend Stone Cold Steve Austin. We last were talking about the Undertaker, the streak, WrestleMania. What does Cena wrestle the Undertaker? And the Undertaker said, it's my retirement match. It's in my home state. It's the first time WWE's done Cowboy Stadium. Do you think, if, of course, the card's good, that thing's got a fighting chance to do 100,000 people?
Boy, I tell you what, in that area, that Dallas-Fort Worth area, absolutely. And, with the people flying in and the promotion behind that would just be global. I damn sure know. If they could get 93,000 over in Detroit or wherever that was years ago, in Auburn Hills, Michigan, they can damn sure put 100,000 in the new Cowboy Stadium. I believe it.
It's geographically compatible to
absolutely
in that respect.
Right where it needs to be.
Yeah. So, and you make that whole pay-per-view about the Undertaker, because whatever he would be at that time would be whatever and oh. Can he leave it? Can he leave it as his last match with a win, or will he? Has he bitten off more than he can chew? Because really, if you're a gamer and you want to tell a story, you want to beat the best teams. Much like my Sooners beating Alabama, we probably beat the best team in college football. But if John Cena was everything John Cena wanted to be, and he wanted to put an exclamation point on that big long resume of his, saying he was the man that beat the Undertaker at WrestleMania, ain't a bad little feather in your hat in the showbiz world of wrestling.
Well, and you can also look at it as this. I mean, Taker might have been we don't know Taker's spin on this. He might be like, you know what, it's time to just pass the torch, so to speak.
Yeah.
Cena's already there. He's already the man, but just as out of respect to the business, maybe, that he made a great living and had one of the greatest runs in the history of the business, and Undertaker might say, you know what, I feel like maybe doing the honors tonight.
Yeah.
And I don't really see that happening. I don't think he needs to do that.
Well, all he would have done if he did that, I don't agree with it either. If that happened, John Cena's the most hated villain in years in WWE. That minute, that second, beating Undertaker, it would be. I mean, the Undertaker would have to hug him and embrace him and hold his hand up and do all
the Undertaker well enough to know that there's not going to be a whole lot of hugging and embracing.
That's what I'm
saying. He's a man's man, and he does that. He's the Undertaker. He's the dead man.
But if you're
even him away from the ring, that's not who he is. So you wouldn't see that out there in that squared circle.
But I'm just saying is that if Cena beat the
I understand.
Cena is a wanted man. Hey, speaking of the Undertaker, back in the day, we had, you were involved in some Undertaker programs. Two really strong personalities, two really respected guys. I love calling your matches, but I'm not so sure that I loved all of the matches you had with the Undertaker. Am I just looking at that through? I had great expectations for those matches, and I wasn't sure exactly what they were going to be. I was thinking of Stan Hansen, Bruiser Brody, like beat the hell out of each other type thing. I don't know. But am I off base on that? Were your matches with The Undertaker all of what you wanted them to be, or like everything else, would it have been, well, they could have been a little better?
No, let me go. I know where you're going, and I understand. No, I never thought any of the matches that we had were the greatest in the world. And Jesus, I got the most respect for The Undertaker. Love that guy to death. Barely know him. Just travel with him. Just travel around the same territory for years and years. But I think because you had a guy that was 6'10", 6'11", 300 pounds, and he was a dead man. And then on the other side of that, you had a mighty tough ass, in the black trunk and bald head and goatee. And I think it was more like a chemistry thing there, and no one was going to feel sorry for either one of us. You wasn't a sympathy-type babyface. It was just two tough guys in the ring. And, I think maybe we tried to overthink things and should have made it just more of a brutal slugfest. But those matches could have definitely been better. Now, the one that I had in the garden with him, when he went down for a backdrop and I kicked him and he brought his head up and that caught me under the chin. That was the first time I'd ever been knocked out in my life. I went down to Madison Square Garden and I'm laying there and there's Earl Hebner looking down at me. I looked up at Earl. I said, "Where am I?" He goes, "Damn, boy, you in the garden." And so I was able to finish the match, but I don't remember the rest of the match. But me and Undertaker used to have a blast in tag team matches working for the same purpose
Right.
and tagging in and out.
Yeah, different deal.
I think we were very much in the same vein, but too similar. Although not similar in looks or appearance or gimmick, I think we were wired the same, and it didn't make for the greatest flow of a match.
Well, with that said, how would your matches, if they had come to fruition, how would programs then with Goldberg and or Lesnar over the long haul? Like, let's say you had 1 year at WrestleMania, it was going to be Stone Cold and Goldberg. 1 year at WrestleMania, the next year, let's say, or whatever, was with Lesnar. So you had that year slow burn, heat it up, then ignite it right after the summer at the Royal Rumble, and then roar it through the WrestleMania, the old system, which is good. And how would you have the same match with Goldberg and Lesnar as you did with Undertaker? With the same styles? Would you think?
No. It would have been completely different. I think with Brock, I think we could have wrestled and actually, worked more spots into it, and wrestled more actually. And after I got dropped on my head, I turned into more of a brawler. But I could have wrestled with Brock and turned it into a brawl. With Goldberg, just put over his extreme power and explosiveness. Bill Goldberg, both those guys are two of the strongest guys that were ever been in the squared circle before. And this is only speculation, Jim, because those matches never happened.
Right.
But that would be how I would anticipate things. And then also, with those two guys, I'm definitely the guy calling the shots. And then the Undertaker is kind of a little bit of a 50-50 type deal, because he was his guy, I was my guy, and so there was a little bit of that going on, I think, with the Goldberg or Brock Lesnar. Now. I'm talking, and end of story, and that's how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And so I think that dynamic would lend itself to a little bit better flow.
I don't think those guys have a problem with that. You want one guy calling the plays. I can see the conflict there because Undertaker's got his playbook, you got your playbook,
Yes.
and you
We
won.
both had different playbooks.
And you both have won. And you both have won. I.e., you both made money in those playbooks. Quite frankly, what's your memories of WrestleMania 19? We're in Seattle, and it was a hell of a calamity of a weekend. And for whatever reason, I can't even remember the reason. Maybe you can tell us. Maybe you remember. We kept your retirement match a secret.
Yeah.
And that was also, there may be a great reason, and I'm sure you're getting ready to tell us, but if there ain't a great reason, you're in Oklahoma again. If there ain't a great reason, then what a missed opportunity somewhere to have that last match.
I'll tell you what it was, Jim. Here's the reason I was thinking, because, Stone Cold Steve Austin was going to step down and retire after that match. My issues with my nerves were really starting to creep up on me. And, I'd been pulling that wagon for a long time. Now, when I took that year off, and Rock and Triple H had two breakout years, and both of the guys had been on their way up anyway. Both are tremendous talents, but in my absence had trademark years. And just some of the people on the internet say, well, that was the greatest year in the history of the business as far as what the company earned with me out of the picture. No. I had helped carry that wagon to that spot, and then it continued. So you can't leave Stone Cold out of that equation.
You mean the internet's wrong? You mean the internet's wrong?
What?
You mean the internet's wrong?
Well, if they don't think that I had a hell of a part to do with that, then they don't know what they're talking about. But anyway, to go back to what you're saying, in my conversations with Vince, I mean, it was, I needed to get out of Dodge. My neck was bothering me. I was putting myself in harm's way. There wasn't a great future for me to continue beating my neck and my body up like that. But it was not going to be a great move for WWE, for Stone Cold Steve Austin to say, I announce my retirement now at WrestleMania 19 and just kind of stop all the momentum that the company had garnered through all the years of their hard work, with everybody else, with DX, Triple H, and Rock, but me just saying, that's my retirement match and leave. So I think it was that, and that I got to say it, the biggest star at the time just steps down after WrestleMania 19. Hey, he's going to throw things into a quagmire, stop our ratings, blah blah blah. I think that might have had something to do with it. It wasn't like it was a long-winded discussion with myself and Vince, but also, I didn't want to retire. I was forced to retire. So, it's kind of just a deal we kept on the down low for the reasons I just stated, and that's what I believe to be why we kept it like that.
Do you think that if the company had not been publicly traded, that information might have been more forthcoming?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I had told Vince, this story I don't think I've ever really told too many people. I was kind of running hard a few years before then, and my knees were bothering me. My old damn body's beat to shreds, but I feel pretty good right now. I told Vince, I said, he was making plans. They was fixed to take the company public. And I said, Vince, I think I'm about ready to retire. I think I'm going to get out of here pretty quick. And he goes, Steve, what are you talking about? I'm fixing to do my IPO. What do they call that? The initial public offering. Is that what it is?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's fixing to go do his IPO. He goes, Steve, that's going to kill my IPO if you retire. He says, where are you staying tonight? I mentioned the hotel. And I goes, you mind if I come by and see you later? So, yeah, come on by. So, man, he came to my hotel after the show. It was Monday Night Raw. And we had a couple of drinks. And he said, man, he goes, if you leave, this is going to kill my offering. And I said, hell, man, I said, Vince, I just feel like hell. I'm ready to get off riding to the sunset. He goes, can you give me another couple of years? And at the time, I just wanted to go deer hunting, man. It was deer season. And I said, yeah, man. I said, I'll hang on for another couple of years for you. I just want to go deer hunting. And so I went hunting in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and you and your wife joined me on that trip.
Yeah. And
so we went deer hunting. But that I'd mentioned getting out of the business a couple of years earlier than I actually got out of the business, and that was just due to my knees.
Yeah, we did some vignettes there at that hunting lodge, as I recall, because I remember flying in there to that. Was that near Grand Rapids?
It was Cedar Rapids, Grand Rapids. It was something, East Lansing. It was wherever. It was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it was. I think the last guy I've been there was with a hat was Ted Nugent or somebody.
Yeah.
Because it was way the hell out there. So my point is, I guess that you never stop promoting. You never stop. I want people to come to my one-man shows. I want them to buy the barbecue sauce. You promote, and you can't turn that motor off, the entrepreneurial motor, where you say, gosh, dang it, man, the merchandise for that Austin retirement match and the DVDs and the monetizing this and all this pay-per-view revenue or what it would do for the network. As an old promoter, you say, gosh, dang it, I wish we could have taken advantage of that opportunity, but it just never did. Did you ever get close where it's like, well, let me think about it today. I'll let you know tomorrow about coming back to doing one last WrestleMania? Did you ever get close in that decision in the last 3 or 4 years?
Nah, not really close. If I go back, each year would have been a little bit closer, because, it was less time out of the ring. But, at this pace, with what's going on and where I'm heading and not being in the ring for so long, you're really looking at too long of a time commitment to, get ready for a match like that. And again, it's like I told Chris Jericho a couple of months ago, it took me, 3 years to get the business out of my system, going through withdrawals. Man, I hated life. I had fun, and I wasn't miserable, and I wasn't crying all day. But, man, I love pro wrestling. I love being on the road. That's what I wanted to do with my life. And I had to give it up. It took me a long time to get over that. I'm over that now. I'm a happy camper. But I don't want to get all worked up, get back in the damn ring, and then come down from that again. Even though I would know, hey, this is a one-time gig, just get in shape and go do it.
Right.
It's not my cup of tea.
Right. People don't understand. Everybody's wired differently. There's a lot of guys that we know that we travel with and we've sat in dressing rooms with that if they were offered a lot less payday than you would get to come back and do that one more match, they'd do it in a heartbeat. Absolutely in a heartbeat, without even thinking about who they're working with or when or anything, their body, that bad hip or whatever, their neck, whatever the case is, because unfortunately a lot of guys don't have the financial security and they need that one more payday, and it's a damn shame, quite frankly. But nonetheless,
Jim, but I'm an all or nothing guy, man. I'm either full on or full off. There's not a whole lot of middle ground for me, so I'd have to go full bore, get back in that thing, and if anybody asks me, hey, Steve, would you rather have more money or less money? I'm going to tell you I want more money. I think most people would make that same decision. So I can make a payday, but, if that match did not live up to my expectations, I'm not talking about the fans, because there'd be many fans out there that would just love to see me in the ring doing my thing, and they would love that. But for me, selfishly, if I go out there with anything less than an A1 effort, A-plus performance, it would be considered a failure. I can't go out there and have a B-plus match. It's got to be A-plus. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So I set the bar extremely high for myself, and I look back at some of my stuff, and I cringe. But if you're talking about just doing one comeback match or a one-off, if that son of a buck ain't the best match in the world, then I would consider it a failure. And I don't know if I want to set myself up to that, because I think I could probably be 95% of what I was. In my opinion, and this is me, 95% of Stone Cold is not enough. That guy was 120%.
Wow. Yeah. Well, hey, there's a lot of guys we both know if they could guarantee, if we could guarantee them that they would be 95% of what they used to be, they'd take it in a heartbeat.
Well, and that's the cool thing about, life and business and wrestling and whatever. Everybody has their own ideas of what's acceptable. Everybody has their own levels or standards of what's cool for them. Me, personally, I hope I'm alive for another 30, 35, 40 years. I don't want to go back and regret anything. I've got a few regrets in my life. Walking away from the company was one of them. Going back and having a potential stinker would be the biggest one of all. And so I just soon let my legacy be what it was, and I had a damn blast doing it. And I want to be engaged and do a few things in the future, but not in that capacity.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't know what else you could prove. You had great matches with some guys. You helped put some guys on the map, which is always great to look back in your career and say, I helped this guy, and what the business should be built about anyway. Let me ask you this question. Do you have any regrets career-wise from not having a program of significance with Hogan?
Yeah, you know what? The thing about never having to run with Hogan, guys, man, I was running so hard back then, hard-headed as hell. The word on the street that he wasn't never going to do any favors for anybody. I damn sure wasn't going to do any favors for anybody who wasn't going to favor back, if you know what I'm saying. And it's funny, when you listen to professional athletes talk about each other, two badass basketball players, they'll rarely put another guy over. They'll talk in a complimentary tone, but they won't give that guy too much credit. Same thing was going on, I would think, and from me, but you'd have to ask Hulk Hogan this question to get his opinion. But hey, I recognize everything that guy did, but I also recognize everything that I did, and I know how I like to work and how I like to fly in the ring and do my business. And he was open to having a match.
I thought so.
Me, not so much. I thought the styles would clash. I didn't think it'd be that great of a match, and this is me outworking me. I love the money that I made in the wrestling business, but I won't do a high-profile match just to get a good payoff, because I'd love to have the money, but it ain't about the money. It's about the match and the program, and if I'm not going to enjoy it, I'm not going to do it. And I guarantee you, you know, if my head would have been in a little bit different place and I wasn't as competitive or hard-headed as I had been, then, you know, by all rights, a program should have happened. But again, I think that was, you know, and me physically and mentally where I was at, I could go. I think Hogan would have probably been a step or two behind that. That wasn't acceptable to me, and I didn't want to slow myself down. And I say that with all due respect to Hulk Hogan and Terry Bollea, because the guy had a hellacious run.
You know,
that was my thought process back in the day.
I think, Steve, quite honestly, whether it's a one-off or and if I had been picking up the pencil and was going to, you know, pencil in the match and book an angle, it'd be a one-off, one time. I don't need to go to the well and see if we can get two out of something that we're lucky to get the one out of.
Okay, now let's go to the finish room.
Yeah, that's easy.
It's easy for you and me.
Well, see, yeah, he gets a stunner. You're staying. He's leaving. You give him a hug or shake his hand like a man when it's over, and he's as whole as he could be if you chose to do that. Or you do it the next night on Raw when all of a sudden, you know, he maybe somewhere down the road, it's you and him in a tag match. I'm just looking at, I don't see why it would be hard to do business. You wouldn't have that 30-minute knockdown, drag-out athletic match like he had the 3 times at WrestleMania with Rock, because he was an athletic son of a gun.
Right.
You know, Terry.
That's kind of where my head was at, though, in having those kind of matches. I didn't think we could deliver at that level. And when you go to what him and Rock did at WrestleMania 18,
right?
Oh, they did nothing.
No.
They had the people in the palm of their hands. It's one of the most electric crowds that I'd ever seen, and everything they did got the best response possible. It was an unbelievable matchup. So they did it without really doing anything, and everything they did meant so much.
Yeah.
I'd take my hat off
You could
to
done
those 2 guys for the match that they put on that night.
Yeah, that was awesome, and it stole the show because everybody thought it was going to be good, but nobody thought it was going to be a lifetime memory. If you were in the building,
never forget it.
In Toronto, and like, you know, Lawler and I were lucky as hell because we were at ringside getting to call the match. That's a lifetime memory, and so it was really cool stuff. Hey, look, I got we're out of time, I'm told, here for this time. We will do this again very soon, but I really want to thank you for taking the time to be here on this show, and I've enjoyed the questions. I got so many more that I'm just curious about, so maybe we can do that at another time.
Hey, man, whatever fits your schedule. I appreciate being the first guy on your show. I tell you what, I got a couple friends that are my true friends and that have been real good for me and good to me. And, man, I tell you what, when I was laying there getting my neck cut on and I woke up after a C3-4 fusion and see you sitting across the damn room, sitting in a chair, I think about that all the time. So I'm glad I could be your first guest. I think you're going to have a blast with the podcasting business. I think the people that tune into this show are going to get a unique perspective of really something that only you, a guy with a lifetime in the business who worked with so many of the greatest wrestling minds in the history of pro wrestling / sports entertainment. I wish you all the best luck in the world with the show, and I'm back whenever you want me on.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you, and appreciate everybody tuning in. And we'll talk to you again. Remember, new shows every Wednesday. And for good old Stone Cold, this is good old JR. See you later, everybody.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.